Hey guys, Coach Shay. Want to talk to you today about a message that I hear pretty often from mostly moms, and they'll say, I want my athlete to enjoy sports more. I want this to be a fun experience, and I understand where they're coming from, and it is a difficult thing because as they as they mature, as they get older, and coaches are working more on just foundational stuff like blocking, tackling, mechanic stuff, technique, all that kind of stuff. It just becomes more complicated. And if the child is not trying to learn that stuff, if they keep making the same mistakes over and over, it's not going to be fun. And especially as you move into middle school. So you have to understand that when you first start your child out in sports, they're 6, 7 years old and they're out there playing. That's just kind of mostly just kind of fun. They're running around, and it's just kind of for fun. Nobody cares about winning, anything like that as a general rule, but a lot of parents do. And so, but this is not going to Disney World. This is not like going to Universal. This is not like, it's not like these kind of things where you have fun and people are waiting on you and all that. This is, it's competition. And at the end of the day, one team wins, one team loses. And the one, typically most of the guys are on one group. They want to win, they want to beat the other team. And so fun takes on a kind of a different meaning and takes it's not something where he's going to go out there and he just has fun. Fun for most of my athletes comes from very hard work, um, getting up early, proving to themselves that they can persevere, getting knocked down and getting back up, becoming more independent, becoming more mature, becoming more tough, uh, excelling at your position. That is where fun comes in. It's not just, oh, you got the ball and you got to shoot, and man, this is fun. It's really not that. It's really it moves up the scale on a pretty high level. And you know, if you want to just play rec league, you can do that usually up through high school where they can just play rec league. And the majority of players are, they're not that serious about it. It's just kind of a part-time thing. It's a little hobby, and and they're not that great at it. But as you move on to these travel teams, as you move on to high school sports, it's pretty serious, and we want it to be that way. Our country is stronger because of sports. We have we have young men and women who are very athletic, and because of that, our country's safer. And so, um, this is not just fun anymore. After like elementary school, it really ramps up. And so if they just want to go out there and they want to feel good, they want people to pat them on the back and tell them they're really good, and they want the parents want to hear how great their kid is and all that. This is going to be a rough road because it's not that at all. And especially down here in Florida and in Georgia, once those kids hit like seventh grade, man, they start weeding them out. The weakest get basically bumped out because they realize real early on that they're going to get ran over, they're going to get squashed. And so there's nothing wrong with that. That is part of how it works. Football is not for everybody. Neither is soccer, neither is baseball, neither is basketball. I have a lot of respect for people that play in a band, that are artists, content creators. There's 1,000 things that they can do. But for the people who are more athletic, who like to be physical, who like sports, this is a great venue. And, if you are trained by good coaches, if you are on good teams, and you're developed, it can be something that can be great. But I think you just got to understand that this is really not about, fun. This is not really about um, being easy, because of all the things to do, it's just the wrong thing for them to do as kind of like a part-time hobby. You're either in and you're doing practices weekly, even on the and on the off season, you're doing running, training, lifting weights, all these kind of things, or you're you're not in. You're out. So, I think that as a parent, I kind of had to go through this myself, and there's a certain point where you're on the boat and it's going good. And then there's a certain point where you're like, all right, this is where we get off. And so that's something that each family has to kind of decide for their own. But you got to be careful about creating too much of a safety net for your kid. And a lot of moms, they want they want the accolades, they want the glory, they want the attention for their child, but they don't really understand what they're signing up for. And what they're signing up for is their child being pushed, their child being challenged, their child maturing so that they can be more independent. And so all of these things where they're getting criticism, they're getting, they're being pushed, they're being yelled at, all these things are not abusive in most cases. They are pushing your child so that your child can get stronger mentally. And so if that's not something that you want to sign up for, you better really get a good view and talk to some other parents about this team, this coach, and just get on another team, because you got to be real careful about, you get on one team, you don't need to quit. You need to stay on that team. And if you get on a team and it's the wrong team, then it could be a rough experience, and that may be the end of it for them in that sport. So all that being said, I work through this stuff every single day, as a mental performance coach, talking to parents, working with high school athletes and college athletes. And so I'm Coach Shay, live down in Ponte Vedra. You can find me on Google college. Let's say I'm listed as Coach Shay under under Psychology Today. I'm sorry. I'm listed under sportsintervention.com, and I'm also on X as College Scout FB. So hope this helps. God bless. See ya.